Hello everybody, John from Movie Burners here, back with another movie review. Today I'm going to be discussing the recently Oscar nominated I, Tonya. And I'm not going to lie, I wasn't familiar with Craig Gillespie as a director prior to this release, nor indeed was I familiar with the colourful Tonya Harding. I was born in 1989, I'm Scottish, I had zero interest in ice skating growing up. So what the hell attracted me to this film then, I hear you ask? Well, Margot Robbie is the answer. Margot is a supremely gifted performer and she really doesn't disappoint here again. If, like me, you weren't aware of the controversy that was to define the titular character back in 1994, then I'll try my best to give a short little breakdown of said event. Emphasis on short, mind, because I am not an expert by any means. Tonya Harding was something of a fiery, indomitable figure in the world of ice skating in the early 90s. She struggled to gain recognition, plaudits for her performances, and was subsequently implicated in an FBI investigation after her rival, Nancy Kerrigan, was assaulted in the aftermath of a practice session. The film is undoubtedly a character-driven biopic that tries to delve into the admittedly dysfunctional upbringing of Tonya. Gillespie utilises past and present perspectives to focus on her incredibly bizarre, at times abusive relationship with her mother, the impact that it had on her as a person, and how it really shaped and forged her career in life going forward, whilst also shaping public opinion of her, all of which proved to be quite crucial in the shaping of the narrative when the sensationalist press kicked into full swing during the media frenzy that took place in 1994 after the attack. In the short research I've done on the real Harding, it seems abundantly clear to me that she was singled out as the villain of the piece, this despite there being little to no evidence of her having any knowledge or involvement in the attack. What the film then seeks to do is show the human side of her story, and it does this rather nicely, I thought. With that in mind though, I have to say that the early flashbacks with Robbie playing a supposed teenage Harding were a little jarring. No harm to Margot Robbie, she's a stunning looking lady, but she's never pulling that age range off. But I did enjoy the antagonistic dynamics explored during these flashbacks between her and Allison, Janney's Lavonna Faye Golden character. Her mother was the atypical domineering pushy type you usually see behind teenage prodigies in various different sports. She was really determined to see her child become a professional skater, even if it meant being at the expense of just about every other part of her life. There was more than a hint of sadistic vindictiveness in there too. The scene with her stabbing her daughter in the back was genuinely shocking to me, and yet despite this, I often found myself laughing at her antics, which were full to the brim with black humour. Some examples of this being her paying a heckler to give her daughter abuse, and entering her home later on in the film in the midst of journalistic hounding with a voice recorder hidden on her. Now, I thought Janney was great here. She went above and beyond to portray this oddity of a woman. She deserved her Oscar nomination and win. Just the subtle little details she imbued the character with, whether they were accurate or not to the real character, I don't know, like the bird on the shoulder and the breathing apparatus to really hit home that this was a woman who had abused her body with smoking, were cool, and I liked that detail and the passion she brought to the character. Tonya didn't seem to have much luck in love either as the film progressed, fleeing the clutches of her abusive mother and landing into an equally abusive relationship with her Freddie Mercury wannabe mustachioed partner Jeff Gillooly, played by Sebastian. Her struggle wasn't contained merely to family and romantic issues either. She fought tirelessly for recognition in a sport that placed equal importance on sparkly clean backgrounds, perfectly applied makeup and outfits as it did on performing truly exhilarating and perfectly choreographed routines. Tonya, as the film perfectly shows, had the natural ability in an abundance, being the first woman to perform a triple axel, but her common background, peroxide hair and disposition for abusing judges meant that she would never reach the top of the sport, with prejudice holding her back on numerous occasions. And on one such occasion I did laugh my head off when she just ripped in to a group of judges for what she perceived to be bias. And again, it proved pivotal in the witch hunt that transpired after the Nancy Kerrigan attack. She was disliked by many in the sport and was never recovering from that setback. As I said before, Margot Robbie was the main attraction for me going into this film. Her performance is incredible. She produced and starred in the film, and the nature of the story meant that both her and Janney really needed big showings, effectively carrying the film, and they did this, and they did it with relative ease. I've already spoke about Janney, who did impress me as the prolific smoker and sadistic mother. Robbie, however, did a splendid job as a voracious skater. She looked absolutely demented at times with the makeup and almost unrecognisable, and she played off her on-screen mother very well, not to mention Sebastian Stan's abusive, sort of goonish husband character pretty wonderfully. Visually, the film was reasonable, nothing more, nothing less. It was set in the early 90s and it didn't look accurate enough. They utilised many flashbacks, as I mentioned previously, which seemed to manifest themselves in grainy VHS style footage, and they looked fine. They kind of reminded me of my old Christmas videos from back in the day with the family, but yeah, they looked okay. The CG was a little off in the skating scenes, however, but it didn't take me out of the film or anything like that. I presume it was CG, because no way was Robbie, despite extensive training, pulling off some of those moves and the slickness of them. I can't really call the score, which should speak for itself, really. Now, if I was to have one other criticism of Tonya, then it would probably be the slightly contradictory comments and views from various different people that pop up in the film on the events that occurred. This was deliberately done by all accounts, so by Gillespie. He effectively let the audience make their own mind up in regards to who to believe and who to side with. Like I said in the beginning, I'm not a massive fan of ice skating. I wasn't aware of the whole Kerrigan-Harding rivalry and the subsequent controversy over the attack, so I was very much conflicted on whether to watch this film prior to seeing it, but thankfully I gave it a shot because it was an enjoyable, interesting insight into a sport that I had no clue about, and its obvious prejudice workings in the background. Not to mention giving an alluring insight into a very unique individual with one of the most peculiar mother-daughter relationships I've ever seen. I would recommend watching this film with absolutely no hesitation. It's got a little bit of everything in there, and I'll be giving it a very solid 4 out of 5. Remember guys, if you're enjoying the content we're putting out, then do subscribe to us on YouTube, iTunes and Google Play, whilst also giving us a little follow on Facebook at Movie Burner Entertainment and on Twitter at Movie Burners. You can also catch up with all the latest reviews we're putting out on the Movie Burner blog at movieburnerintertainment.org. Until the next time, goodbye.